Hey guys, welcome to the Fish Hook Nation. It is 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard for you guys that are living on the East Coast. And we are about to have a great discussion tonight. I'm in Florida now for the next 3 weeks. Got here Sunday night and looking forward to a great 3 weeks here of fishing. We've got quite a bit planned. But for all you guys that start coming on board tonight, I'd like is to tell me where you guys are from and a little bit about yourselves. And if there are questions you guys have, please, this is the channel to talk. I want to talk with you. I want to have fun tonight. I look forward to this all week. What we're going to talk about, what we're going to do, and look forward to meeting folks from literally all over the globe. So we're having some beastly hot weather here in Florida and the Tampa Bowl areas where I'm located. And we're all bearing down. There's a pretty good sized storm brewing. Everybody's heard about it. Dorian. They named the new Hurricane Dorian that's emerging in the Eastern Caribbean. So I looked at it tonight, just about a couple of minutes ago, just to get some updates. That storm is still, basically a tropical storm, 55, 60 mile an hour winds. And it's now going, just passing through the Windward Islands. And its direct course is going into Puerto Rico. So let's pray for Puerto Rico tonight and tomorrow, especially. There's a possibility they'll get a direct hit, but it's projected to go up the coast. And by the time it hits Puerto Rico, it's projected to be a hurricane strength. So we've got to keep a real close eye on that. I've got family on the east coast of Florida, down South Florida, the Fort Lauderdale area. And if the weather forecasters are correct, that projected path, if it continues, goes into the Barbados now. And if it hits the Bahamas, Florida's dead on for an impact on the East Coast. So we want to keep a good, close eye on that. That seems to be the breaking news tonight. And everybody is boarding up, and they're really getting ready for an anticipated attack. Dorian now is the 4th hurricane to emerge in the Caribbean in the Atlantic storms. So you guys, I just want to give you a little bit of history. I'm learning it too. Current events, what is going on. And a little bit on, let me change the subject a little bit. I want to say just a little bit about last week's session. We talked obviously about Maine a lot and about lobsters. And I got some really cool comments on my videos on some things about lobsters. Now, I want to tell you first, there's about 6 or 7 varieties of lobsters. There's the cold water lobster. They say it's either the American one or the European. They're the same with the claws. And then there's the spiny-tailed, or they call it a false lobster, but it comes from the warm waters of Florida all the way to Hawaii, they say. It is a spiny-tailed lobster, no claws. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up, I want to give you just a couple of facts about. We talked about health last week. We talked about protein, diet, like what's the best fish to eat, and what's the protein benefits and the nutritional benefits. And we talked about the top 10 fish to eat and the top 10 to stay away from. So some of it was an eye-opener for me, but I want to tell you about lobster. Excuse me. First, it is lower in fat, check this out, and calories than beef, pork, and chicken. It's lower than all of them. It's rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which is a big pull why we should have that in our diet. There's no trans fat, no saturated fats, and it's low in sodium. which is really good for those who are watching that. It's great for pregnant women. There's a lot of benefits. Now, I'm going to say something on a side note. It's not a fact, but it's my experience. I've eaten spiny-tailed lobster while here in Florida from warm waters. And obviously, I've had the cold water one with the claws. Let me tell you, in taste, a world of difference to me. In my opinion, first of all, the spiny tail don't grow near as big as their cold water cousins, the clawed ones like we see. The meat is totally different. I've eaten spiny tail, and my opinion, they don't take. It's a little more mushy, the meat. And hey, honey, my wife's on the line. And the cold water lobster is a lot more firm, much bigger, and a lot more tastier. Now, again, that is my opinion. It's my take, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But if I had my druthers, I'm going to buy the cold water lobster as much as possible. And I really don't care if I have spiny tail or not. I don't think there's any resemblance in taste at all. Justin, my buddy from Maine, how you doing, bro? Hey, listen, Justin, for your sake, I want to tell you as we get started on this session, anything you guys want to talk about, anything cool happened this week, let me know. If you've got questions, let me know. This is an open session. I'm real excited about this. I look forward to talking. I did some research, so we have some interesting things to talk about tonight. And I'll be posting this week any updates on Dorian, that hurricane. We're watching it. So our hearts and our prayers go out to all the people that are in their direct path. Well, that's my thing on lobsters. And let me remind you again, you've been doing good up there, yeah? Well, how's your weather been up there? Has it been cold? In Tennessee this past week, it was in the 70s and a high of 85, which is dramatically different than the week before. It was like 95 plus every day. Now, this week here in Florida, Lord have mercy, it's hot. There's humidity here as usual. It's the humid capital of the world, but it's definitely a big difference. Now, we've got a lot of rain in Tennessee, and that brought the temperature like almost 20 degrees down. It made it very bearable, really enjoyable. I cut my grass, 72-degree weather. It was 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. It was great. It was just great, man. So give our love to your wonderful fiance, Becca, and Frank and the whole family up there. And don't eat all those lobsters. I'm dying for some lobsters. I need a fix. And I know I can get it in Maine. You guys made a believer out of us. It's been chilly up there. 40s at night? Wow. Well, I got to tell you, I love your weather. I love that that's Canadian weather. I love it. Part of my heart will always be up north. Always. Anyway, tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about. It's a subject that I knew very little about, even though I've been down in Florida for so many years now. I travel back and forth a lot. Is the subject of red tide. I've heard of it, that it comes in the fall a little bit down here, but never really paid much attention to that. Well, tonight I'd like to talk a little bit about that. And for some of you guys and girls that really don't know anything about it, I did some research and I found out some facts, and really they were good for me. Let me say for Justin, yes, Justin, our hearts go out to Becca, and we have you guys in our thoughts and our prayers. Just want you to know that. Well, let me tell you, first of all, red tide is a very specific type of algae bloom. It can kill large numbers of fish and dolphins and manatees. I'm scrolling down because I have to look at my notes here to tell you guys. and it can possibly make shellfish poisonous to eat. It's a pretty scary thought there. Contact with it can cause skin irritation. Now, listen, this past red tide, that first time I ever seen it like this in this magnitude, it was the worst in the history of Florida. Lasted over 9 months. It's supposed to come just in the fall. It was with us practically the whole stinking year, and it shut down the fishery, like slam dunk, shut it down. There were thousands of tons of fish and sea animals washed up on the shore. It really is a horrendous sight. It came in Sarasota, totally shut them down in the bay. And that's a beautiful part of Florida. And you see them out there with backhoes just running on the beach, scooping it up. It was a sight to behold. I was going to fish at John's Pass one day, which is near Madeira Beach on the West Coast here. And lo and behold, they told me, don't even waste your time. We're walking around with masks on our faces. The stench is so bad of dead fish. And the fishing has died. Inland, that is. Not offshore, but inland. They have a lot of boats that go offshore and get their fish, but it's been horrible. So just want to let you know that it was unprecedented. And it went away, and then there was a little reoccurrence. It was coming back. They were detecting it in the water, the biologists, and I haven't heard any more news about that. But from that, they put strict regulations now. They've shut off snook, redfish, and speckled trout. We can catch it, sport fish, we have to let it go all the way till next season. I think it's April of 20. So that has put a huge dent in the fishing, at least this part of Florida. It's really, really hurt the fishing industry. I got to tell you that. Now, let me talk a little bit more about it. I said contact with it can cause skin irritation. Well, water affected by red tide can be in different colors. They call it red tide, but it can be viewed and shown in different colors in the water. Now, this is an organism from the Gulf and coastal waters in a few hundred to a few thousand per liter of water. That's how small these are. From a few hundred to a few thousand in a liter of water. Everybody knows how much a liter is. And now here's some interesting things I found out. It feeds on excess nutrients. And I'm saying to myself, what the heck? Well, hold on. Justin, you had pogies get trapped in the bay across the road from my house on this year. Wow. How do you like that? Wow. Bad news. Yeah, I know. It is a horrible sight. Well, it feeds on excess nutrients. So let's talk about nutrients. And then it says it expands. Once it feeds on this, we'll talk about this in a minute. We'll elaborate. It feeds into what's called a red tide bloom with at least, check this out, look how much it multiplied, from 100,000 to 5 million cells per liter. That's astonishing amount. And that's how quick it expanded. Its growth in the presence of this excess nutrient source is achieved by, it's an asexual reproduction where one cell becomes two, two become four, and so on. You could do the multiplication. Well, it did it so fast, it was mind-boggling, and it totally overtook the western coast of Florida. Now, what are major nutrient sources? Check this out. I didn't really know this, what they feed on. Well, we first said dead fish. Can't stop that. Then it's a decaying sea life. It's a normal cycle of life. Then, now check this out. This is from us now. Air pollution, which eventually feeds into, it's absorbed into the water. Then runoff from streets and lawns into rivers and streams. This is all across the U.S. That feeds in there. And there's nutrient in this runoff. This runoff comes from all over the place. I don't know who I'm speaking with there, but thank you that you like the content. Thank you. I get a hacking coffee. You know what I think it is, guys? I think it's, I come to Florida. It's a different type of allergies down here, a different type of pollen in the air. And every now and then, man, it just, excuse me, guys, I apologize. I've got my coffee here and it's a problem. Anyway, thank you for that remark. And then now check this out. Effluent from sewage treatment plants, seepage from septic systems that leach into the, this is bad soil that have perking and perking and perking, and it leaches into the local water systems that everything flows to the ocean. Everything. The rivers go to the ocean. The lakes dump into there. It's all through a system of tributaries and rivers and streams. They all go into the ocean. And this is a major source of what they call landside runoff. So just follow me on this because I want you guys to understand how red tide blooms, what it feeds on, and what we can do quite a bit to help. Red tide is typically formed well offshore. That's where it comes from. They intensify as they move towards shore from landside runoffs where red tide blooms. Robert Porter, hey Charles, just want to say thank you. This is good family. Thank you. Hey, cool man. And you're from Knoxville. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Hey, for everybody else that's online tonight, please just put it out there where you're from. I'll acknowledge it. And if you have any cool questions or things that have happened this week for you guys, and again, let me remind everybody, please, I'm really serious about it. Send me pictures of your catches, anything really important in your life, and you want everybody to know about it. We're going to post it on our Instagram, even if it's just pictures of you guys, even if it's family stats. Listen, I'm having fun doing this, and I'm learning a lot about people all over the world, and I just think it's awesome. And I totally am enjoying what I'm doing here. And this is a really good subject to talk about, red tide, because it affects a lot of people. It says red tide blooms, it's so prevalent and severe along the Sun Coast. Well, why is that? Okay, here's something I did not know. We live here in Florida, we live between two of the biggest nutrient dumps in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, wait till you hear this one. The Mississippi River is a gigantic portalway, all the way from up north, all the way down, and dumps into the Gulf. And polluted releases from Lake Okeechobee into the Caloosahatchee River into the Gulf. Everybody's heard a lot about Lake Okeechobee. Has got some there's some issues there on the cleanliness of the water and whether it's dumping or whatever, but there's some stuff that's bad there. That eventually dumps into the Caloosahatchee River, which goes into the Gulf. This is the nutrient. There's stuff in there that they feed on. Now, here's something else I learned that I didn't know. When all this nutrient comes into the Gulf, you wonder, well, how does it get, like here you got, all the way up here, you've got the Mississippi River coming in. Then along the Gulf, Lake Okeechobee, central Florida, comes in. Think about all this, it's crap water is what it is, coming in, but it's laden with a lot of stuff that these algae, these microorganisms feed on. Now, I learned about in the Gulf, there's a loop current. Now, the Gulf of Mexico is gigantic. And from down south, centrally south, there's currents that come in and they just loop around our coast. It's a natural current. It's called the Gulf Stream. And there's plates. There's what they call a West Florida shelf. And whenever there's a movement in that shelf, it the stuff that's on the bottom gets Matt Low. Nice to have you, bro. Uh, that current, that upheaval in the shelf will bring stuff that's in the lower portions of the Gulf up to the surface. So naturally, think about this. This algae that's out in the ocean through a series of wind and currents, especially tides come in. We have tides. This is salt water. So there are tides that come in, tides that go out. So the tides bring in good and bad. So they bring in this algae organism, this microorganism, and it's feeding on these nutrients that are being circulated and brought to the surface through the loop current and through the the upheaval in the plates and movement in the shelf. It gets affected, and Florida is a long, long coast on the west side, and it comes all the way up the Keys, all the way up Sarasota. I mean, Naples, Sarasota, and all the way up north, even into the Panhandle, because Destin got affected. So it's a pretty nasty sight. But this red tide, I don't know how. We're at pretty serious proportions now with pollutants that are going in the ocean. Now, listen, I'm not a scientist. I love my country, and I want to take care of our resources. And I hope everybody here all feels the same. But we've got to watch out, like where I am in Nashville now. I'm in the plumbing and mechanical business, and we're having to put in these E1 pumps. These are heavy duty pumps to pump their sewage into a forced sewer system. They don't want, because in some of these subdivisions, they're all on septic, and Nashville is being very proactive. I'm proud of them here. There's been a lot of leaching into our lakes. I remember the Old Hickory Lake, the Percy Priest Lake. All these lakes around here are really dammed up rivers. It happened. It's part of it's a program that Theodore Roosevelt developed, where we have a hydroelectric power with dams, and it's a really great idea. But through the dams and the lowering down in generations and all that, water comes from. They have to lower it down. The Army Corps maintains this, but all this water is eventually in the Gulf of Mexico. So if we're poisoning it, and if our septic systems are, my wife, she's just breaking my chops now. This is really interesting. Well, I hope so, honey. I hope you like it. But let me just say, I'm trying to keep everything in layman's terms because it's a very interesting subject. But when all this sewage, even though it's biodegradable, sometimes if the house is real old, you really need to pay attention to the life and the health of your septic system, because this stuff gets in there, overwhelms the ground after so many years, then it can't perk. Perk means Ayan Ahmad. How you doing, man? Yo, all the way from Saudi Arabia. Nice to have you, brother. I don't know how you guys, if you guys have red tide or not. You guys can all talk about this too, and say some things about it. If you have any kind of crazy stuff happening in your oceans that affect you, you're from the UK. Hey, brother, nice to have you, man. There was a guy very similar to your name. I thought it was from Saudi Arabia, but you're in the UK. Nice to have you, bro. And this these contaminants are coming from so many sources. Now, another thing too, that we all know this, and EPA is fighting it, and it's a big. This isn't going to become a political thing, by no means. But there's so much that we don't know that are being done that we're not aware of. But there's so many contaminants being thrown. Everybody thinks, oh, just throw it down the drain. Well, listen, those drains, believe it or not, your kitchen drain will eventually hit the Gulf. It's eventually going to go into the ocean through a series of locks, through a series of tributaries, through a series of rivers and lakes and streams. It's going to go. You guys go camping. You throw your stuff out, just pour it in the ground out there. Did you guys ever go up a river, like we go up to Caney Fork, there's a lot of rivers in Tennessee. And oh, you're new to this stream. Sorry to interrupt. Hey, let me tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about red tide, this microorganism that comes from the ocean, Ahmad, and how it has severely affected Florida. So tonight, I chose to talk a little bit about what is red tide. I got educated too. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a biologist, but I need to know what's happening and what I can do to be proactive. And I think all you guys would agree to that we can't keep poisoning our dear earth. Cannot. It's groaning, the Bible says. It's groaning. It's being poisoned and abused. So if you're up the river, and I've seen this, we get some of these flash rainstorms that, I mean, all of a sudden there's flash floods. Well, we were in Kentucky, for example, this past July 4th, and you guys saw our video. Well, me and Amy were in Adairsville, Kentucky. It's about an hour from Nashville, but check this out. It was a blinding rainstorm for about 30 minutes. Well, check this out. We went over a bridge and watching this little calm creek turn into a raging inferno. But the point I'm bringing is here, we looked at the hillside coming in, that everything down the mountain, anything of any elevation goes to its lowest source. And I'm telling you, the water was flying down the mountain into the lakes and the rivers. That's what causes flooding. Well, if the woods, if the mountainsides are poisoned, when you guys go camping, clean up your mess. Please be respectful, because it's just horrible. I'm out there on the boat, and you've seen videos on YouTube where guys are going around picking up balloons, picking up things that many people, not the majority, have absolutely no respect and no care. Oh, the next person, just throw it out. Just like throwing butts out the window, or you driving down. And I'm not going on a rage here. I'm just trying to tell you that when we have 7 billion people on the planet, and say 20% don't care, that's 1.4 billion people. And let's say on a regular basis, they just throw things out. They don't care where it goes. Can you imagine what disaster is getting ready to happen? And where, let's say, open cans of soda go out there, or beer and stuff, and all that pours into the ground. First of all, soda's completely caustic to our system. Nobody wants to hear that. I love soda like everybody else. It's caustic. It'll eat through your intestines. So think what it does when it goes in the ground. It kills all the organisms en route, and then it's saturated by the ground. A rainstorm happens, and it just oversaturates. And this is where the term perk comes in a septic system. If some of you, for a lot of you guys I have a septic system in my house in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. When it rains real bad, I smell sewer outside. One of my daughters have a septic system, and it's a terrible smell of sewage. Even my previous home had that, because no sewers available where we are. We're out in the county. Well, let me tell you, what's happening is the ground cannot absorb all the, even though it's biologically safe to put it in the ground, but cannot absorb all that. And what happens is it floats. The water goes in, and the feces float, and all the effluent, and you smell it. And the ground, that's perking, is a process of absorption. And it has to perk at such a rate for the health department to okay the potential and the possibility of adding a septic system to your yard. There's nothing wrong with that. But just to tell you that everything in there eventually gets washed out and gets rained. Mother Nature will find a way to clean the ground, to clean the mountainside, and all that stuff that goes in there, good or bad. Listen, when we're in the Old Hickory Lake, I'll tell you sites I've seen. There are pipes, 6-inch, 8-inch, 12-inch, just coming from the nearby chemical plants, flying and dumping in. And I'm telling you, that's not a potable water by no means. It's not edible. So what do you think that does to all the fish in the lake? You know, there's a big detrimental effect. So all of this Now, this is just our little inch of the world, our little speck. We're just a dot on the map. The world's a big place. So if you guys in the UK don't abide by that, or other people in Saudi don't abide by it, or people in California, or people in Canada, or people in Ireland, or wherever you are, Japan, the oceans, there's currents. All of this gets circulated, and little by little, it poisons the water, and a lot of species get endangered. It's just a terrible cycle of death. So red algae, this algae feeds on this stuff. This is nutrient-rich waters. It's not good stuff. So they feed on it, carried by the tide, carried by the wind, and storms that just, tear up the coast like Florida gets known today. Well, do you think it's all clean water that's coming in? No. Just think about it. Think about it. Sometimes you see after a storm comes in, the water's all murky. It's all turned up. Well, you think that's good? No, it's turning up everything that's on the bottom. The fish get affected by it. And if it's that algae, that microorganism, if it's here, there's a scientific name for it. I didn't write that down, but if it's here, it's getting thrown into the coast. It's going to feed on everything that's a loop current in the Gulf, driven by currents, driven by movement of the earth, and stuff gets churned up because stuff you dump in the ocean eventually does settle to the bottom. Until there's a little movement or a strong current, where do you think it's going to go? It's going to get all churned up. And then we've got a mess. And then everybody's complaining. Oh my goodness, we got red tide. Look how bad. What propagated this past red tide, I don't know. But it's the worst case in the history of Florida. So I thought tonight would be a nice thing to talk about, a little educational. But last week we talked about what we're going to eat. Well, now we're talking about the other end of that spectrum. What happens to everything that comes out of us? There's sewage plants. They got to process it. And let me tell you something else that you guys aren't aware of. But when our water really gets treated, you and I would be surprised to see the fecal matter and the matter that's in there that is not good for potable systems. Least alone, not good for our health. So just to tell you that there's a lot to be concerned with, and cleanliness, just some basic respect. Pick up your garbage. I go on jetties. I do a lot of jetty fishing, and this next 2 or 3 weeks I'll be doing, I'm going to find some good jetties here to fish on. I'm still experimenting with this part of Florida. We'll be doing a lot of traveling. We're going to be doing some pier fishing, and we're going to be testing out the waters. But when I was on jetties, even growing up as a kid in Little Neck, New York, check this out. And I didn't know at the time, but I learned real quick, protect your lunch. Anything I put down, if I had a paper bag, all of a sudden, a paper bag gets pulled down between the rocks. I go running, diving after it, and there's sewer rats there. Well, rats feed on all kinds of food, debris, rotted, decaying stuff. Well, there's all kinds of crap there. So, and here you get the ocean is just washing over, taking what there remains, gets washed out to sea. So all these jetties are filthy. There's so much stuff. Like when I go to the shore here in Florida, you should see the garbage, and these are stuff that cannot be absorbed by the ocean. And I'm talking paper bags, plastic bags, cups, cans, bottles of beer, just bottles in general, stuff that that is thrown out that people don't care. They just don't care. We can't keep going on like that. And it would be nice if all you guys would just be a little bit more conscientious and do your part. One of my friends, Fishaholic, he has a great station on YouTube, was on Montauk Point fishing. And he's going around, and it was really nice in what he did, and just a point he was making. He was going out, we brought some plastic bags with the Ziploc on them, put them in his backpack, and we're just going around picking. And he filled up 2 bags. It was ridiculous, strewn all over the shore, all over the coast there by the beach. I mean, that's disgusting, and it's not right. I fish Montauk. There's nothing worse than going on a beautiful beach and kicking your foot into what? A bottle cap, stepping on that and cutting your feet in the sand, or getting cut by a broken bottle of beer or soda. It's just, guys, it's wrong. And we should be ashamed of ourselves for doing stuff like that. So anyway, this is all the stuff that gets washed into the sea and offshore and through the series of currents, the loop current, through the series of tides and weather, good and bad weather, pulls in good and bad organisms, and they feed on stuff like this. So, only God knows where these things came from and what they do, but they have decimated so much fish here. Florida's real serious about maintaining their fish, especially they have a program now that they're putting in thousands of little baby, I think it was a redfish, 6,000 at a time. I saw that on YouTube in different areas of Florida because they want to replenish hatchlings from all their hatcheries, which hats off to the FWA. They really do. The Florida Wildlife are doing a great job down here. I gladly pay my renewal fee. I'm a non-resident here. And in addition, I pay an extra $5 to get a hard card, mainly because that money goes toward the fishery to help promote good things. And I do that everywhere we go fishing. Like when we went up to the Great Lakes in Michigan, I bought a year-long non-resident license. I want to do my part in contributing. So, Ahmad, if you're still on, let me know how the fishing is by you and what the UK is like, if they're real stringent on their rules. They're very tough down here. Tennessee, wicked. But you know what? There's so much wicked abuse. It's ridiculous. We have it like with striped bass, for example. In Tennessee, we've got a limit. You can have 2 per day. Not 2, run to your truck, give it to your neighbor, then come back out and do that. Because if I know about it, I'll turn you in. And we've done that. We've called the ranger. We've got their phone numbers. They know me for 34 years there. They know us. And we're a regular face. But even us, got to see your license. Is it legal? Are you up to date? I got called on the carpet. And one time my license had expired. Thank God I didn't. I came back from striper fishing and I didn't renew my license in time. And he was so nice. So I ran over there to Walmart, renewed. He came back and I told him, hey, you got me. I really thought I was up to date. Now, Robert, you said as a pipe fitter's apprentice 30 years ago, my class went to a water sewage plant. I'll never forget that experience, which everyone could do. Yeah. I wondered, did you have to wear a mask? Yeah, I've been there. It's disgusting. And the stuff, everybody thinks out of mind, out of sight. Baloney. Everything comes to the surface. Everything. And in sewage treatment plants, you should only look it up. All the crap that they pull up. Now, there's something I just heard of. That's interesting that you said that, Robert. There's, I forgot what they call it, but there's a new program coming up. Somebody is thinking where they're going to extract. There's so many. Oh, I forgot the percentage. I don't want to misquote it, but there's tons of good retractable minerals and precious stones and stuff that are in the sewer pipes. And they're looking to filter it and extract that. And it's going to become a billion-dollar industry. That's excellent. I'm all for that. And I think I'd say hats off to them. Whoever thought of it, they're going to become multimillionaires. But it's a great idea, and they're extract. There's good minerals and stuff. We throw away probably more than we should. It's disgusting how much waste of food we have. And look, where does it go? It goes right down into the sewer pipe. So think about that now. My little grandsons and my granddaughters, they're all going to learn about plumbing and mechanical from me and their parents, because that's a very big part of our life. But it makes me so much more aware. You should see the stuff we pull out of sewers when we clear drains. We're a full service company and mechanical contractors, but you should only see it's unbelievable what people throw down their drains, and they think it's never going to surface again. Oh, it does. You would be surprised. And on some of the pipes, when you guys want to be, well, I'm not going to call you cheap. You just don't want to spend money. And you don't want to upgrade your sewers. And you have the old cast iron sewers. They rot out over years. They can last 50, 60, 70 years. And then through their joints, then they were bell and spigot. They were bell hub. And the pipe goes in it, then they either mortared it up like concrete pipe, or if it's cast iron, we would pour oakum in there and lead. I'd rather lead first and then oakum and pack it in. But that only has a lifespan of maybe 50 to 75 years. It decays, and roots are real strong. Well, what do you think is feeding your trees? If you see a real healthy patch of grass in your yard and everything else is dead, you got to break in your pipe and you're feeding the ground if you got a real sewer system. That's what's happening. We do cameras and we camera and people's eyes get like grapefruits. Oh my goodness, that's my sewer line. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You might as well go in the landscaping business because you're irrigation business because that's what you're doing. And we have to dig up these sewers and find out they're cracked. The roots are so strong they'll break through concrete because it's searching. It smells humidity. It smells water, and the roots need moisture to grow. And sewer water is water. And they feed on it. They feed on all the fecal matter. I hate to be blunt, but that's what it is. So, guys, that's another way of being really conscientious. I have so many friends of mine that are in this business, and they're probably listening to me tonight. This is part of cleanliness. This is part of taking care of our planet and being good stewards of the great things that we have. There's a great country, a great land that we live in. Take care of the earth. Take care of your plumbing systems, your HVAC systems. All of this eventually will get drawn into a sewer or a land pile somewhere. And what do you think is going to happen from the land pile? It's going to leach in. You know how much oil and stuff that's non-condensables get sucked into the ground and they poison the ground. So I just want to give you guys something like an aerial view. Step outside your box a little bit and think about it tonight. All these things contribute to a very filthy, and we're poisoning the earth. And eventually, it could become part of our potable water system. So I know this might not be an exciting topic, but it's good things to learn. And if I get any part in it, I want to share this with you so that we become good stewards of all the blessings that God has given us. Take care of your stuff. Take care of all your resources. Properly dispose of them. Put them in place. When you go to the dump and they say, "Look, plastic here, recycle," do that. Pay attention. Make an effort. Don't just dump everything together because let me tell you something. What you're doing is passing the buck. You're telling the next person, "I don't care. I'm more important than you, and I don't care about what it does to you." It's very selfish, self-centered attitude. Let's not develop into that. Let's be eco-friendly. I'm not a tree hugger. I'm not that. I like to live off the land. I love fishing. I love hunting. I like resources that I can consume. When I go fishing, I don't just go to, just for the heck of it, kill 80, 90 fish and don't eat them. I eat them. I give them out to people. Absolutely. I don't just catch it just for the sake, "Hey, look how many I caught." No. I'd be just as wrong as the guy who throws his cigarette butts out the window. I don't do that. I'm very conscientious of that. As of late, been throwing even more fish back that I catch. I'm picking the best prospects for a meal at home because I believe in that. So I'm just one little part, but every part makes a whole. We're all in this together, guys. So it'd be great if I hope everybody agrees with me, and I'm not offending nobody, but there's really no reason for offense here. It's just black and white facts. And if, like Robert said, if you guys went to a sewage treatment plant, just look it up online and what they go through and try to work there. My uncle, when I first got married many, many years ago, My uncle worked at a sewer treatment plant, and the stories were disgusting. The things he's seen, how horrible. And this is years back. He did it like 50, 60 years back. It was ridiculous. You know how much worse it is now? How much more poisons and stuff that we're throwing down? Look, the drug industry is out of control now. We got a drug for everything. We've got more chemicals from the spray repellent and all that kind of stuff. And we throw our cans anywhere, we just spray it. All this stuff gets absorbed into something. It just doesn't go away. It doesn't go into outer space. This is the outer space where we breathe. So, again, I know I sound like a broken record, and I apologize if I come off that way. But Red Shark, how you doing, brother? Have you ever been? Oh, good. We'll change the subject now. I like this. Have you ever been musky? Yes, I have, man. Thanks for asking. And Red, while I answer that, why don't you post for everybody where you're from? I'd like to know that from everybody. It it stokes me. It's to see everybody from all. I got guys on Ahmad. He is from the UK. I don't know everybody else, but I know I got Maine on the line and Tennessee. Yeah, musky fishing. We went to Cave Run. If I remember right, me and my buddy Steve years ago, we went to Cave Run Lake in Kentucky. The Pass, Manitoba. Oh man, you're killing me. Nothing like sticking to something in my heart. I love it. I want to go up there. I definitely want to go to Manitoba. I hear too many good things about that. Pronounce the paw. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I stand to be corrected. The paw, Manitoba. Yes. Hey, Red, I hope you saw my video. I'm going off tangent here, but that makes me. I was corrected when I went to Maine. I said you're going to become a Mainer. Wrong. It's pronounced Maina. So I learned something. But anyway, I did go musky fishing at Cave Run Lake. You can look it up. And this dude, it's only trophies. You cannot keep them. So we fished all day, and they say that the muskies are a fish of 10,000 casts. Let me tell you, that's true. We went out at 7 in the morning. It was bone chilling cold. I loved it. We were in a boat, me and my buddy and the guide. We're out all day. It was really reasonable. It was like $275 for both of us total. That was dirt cheap. And we went out just to have a blast. And they put us up in their little hotel. Anyway, we went fishing there, and we're casting 12-inch to 18-inch long, gigantic lures. It was, I'm telling you, it was beyond belief. And we're just whipping them out there to the shore. And we didn't get a rise. We didn't get a bump. Absolutely nothing. So, but he also did. Now, here's something I never saw before. It shows you I'm ignorant of this because I'm not in that part of the world. What is it, Red? What'd you say? Same here. Can't keep them. Just take a photo. Absolutely. Not, but you can in a lot of places, though. Friends make big custom. Great stuff, and each one tells a story. Oh, yeah. After the cheek. Did you ever see the teeth on a muskie? It's like a freaking alligator. And they got a bony structure like their cousin, the pike, and the pickerel. Anyway, he got these fish called suckers. They were about 8 inches long, and they look like a carp because they have their mouth is on the bottom, like a redfish. They're bottom-eating fish. And anyway, we hooked 2 live suckers right by the boat, just dropping them down, letting them swim around. I don't know, 4 or 5 feet in the water. This was hysterical. And the guy, I made a fool out of myself. I was just intimidated. I never fished for muskie. I was a little nervous with a guy there. And we caught nothing. And it's about 5 to 5:30 at night, almost at the end of the trip. We didn't even get a hit, and we must have cast it hundreds of times. Well, all of a sudden, we see a muskie surface. The thing was about 4.5, 5 feet long, and no exaggeration. And the thing circles around, and he said, grab the pole. And the thing mouthed the sucker, and lo and behold, he was yelling. He goes, set the hook. And I mean, he was screaming. He said, set the hook. So I was like a wimp. I didn't even set it real hard. I was a little nervous and intimidated. Man, I didn't want to screw this up. And anyway, I didn't set it really hard. I mean, now I'll be going muskie fishing again. And I guarantee you that muskie is going to get hooked. But what he meant, what he was saying was their mouth is so bony, and I'm sure you know this, Red. Their mouth is so bony and really sharp hooks. You gotta set that for everything that's in. You gotta slam that rod back. And you need a rod with backbone, no wimpy rod. That's why a lot of these rods, they look like broomsticks. But hook into a muskie, and then you see what I'm saying. You'll see that broomstick bent. That's what'll happen. And that's what happened that day, and it was awesome. No, we didn't get it. He ran off with sucker. He got that. But that was my introduction to suckers and muskie, and it was great. Now, I'll tell you this. Now, I didn't catch it, so I'm not going to take. I'm going to try to get pictures from my buddy Steve, and I hope he's watching. And I want to do a big shout out to Steve, my buddy Steve Bartholomew. Great fisherman. I learned a lot with him, and we just feed off each other. You know, fishermen do that. Well, up at Dale Hollow Lake, if you look this up on Google, it's a phenomenal fishery. They stock it with 250,000 walleye a year. It's a smallmouth capital of the world. The world record smallmouth was caught there, and it's stocked regular. Extremely good ecosystem. They got shad population there that is outrageous. Outrageous. The threadfin shad, just how many beautiful shad are populating there. Anyway, and it keeps the predator fish going. Well, he's caught 2 or 3 already. At one time, he wasn't even fishing for a muskie, just trolling with light tackle, and he caught him on a 6 or 8 pound. I mean, he's a good fisherman. He's an excellent fisherman, and you got to know your tackle. And there's a lot to learn on this channel, guys. I'll talk to you about that. Not just any old person is going to pull on something like that. Absolutely not. I see so many wrong things done. I just feel sorry. I want to tell them. And it's not like I'm not a know-it-all, but I've lost some good ones out of stupidity. And I had one of those brain moments when you have a dead brain, like a brain fart, and you do this real greenhorn thing, and you yank on the rod when you're not supposed to. You know, certain fish you do, some you don't. That's why they got drags. And anyway, you learn all this. But that's another session. But he caught a beautiful one, and he had it mounted. This was a 50-inch muskie. He caught 2 or 3 that I know of out of that lake, and it was awesome. Awesome. So, yes, muskie are awesome. They're stocked in a lot of the lake. They're up at Melton Hill Lake now. There's guides up there that regularly do muskie fishing. So if you want to see what Tennessee has to offer, see, they're actually been introduced, and they seem to be thriving very well. Very, very well. So we'll go on Google, do muskie fishing in Tennessee. Do that in any state, and you'll see what lakes have been introduced to that. But it's been really, really cool. Muskie fishing is awesome. Now, I heard, and I believe it, I got some credible sources. Now, a lot of places you can keep muskie. That's not a problem. But I heard from a lot of credible sources that muskies are excellent eating fish. And I don't believe everything you hear either from everybody saying, oh, about pike. Oh, it's the Y bone on it. It's so hard to fillet. Baloney. The same thing they say about bluefish. Oh, it's an oily fish. It tastes terrible. Listen, people are talking out of their left ear. I was raised up on it. I ate bluefish as a little kid all my life. And now there are bluefish I found out in Florida that taste totally different, and they taste even better. There's very little oil because their diet is total protein. It's all these great crustaceans. So take it with a grain of salt. A lot of it's spoken out of ignorance, and everybody just repeats stuff, and they got no basis for that. I have basis for what I tell you. I've eaten all the above fish except muskie. And pike I've had too. I've caught that. I went ice fishing, which I want to go again, up in Minnesota. So red, I love it. I love Canada. I hope you look at our videos on Maine. Me and Amy just came back from Maine. We had a blast, absolute blast up in Maine. I didn't get near enough of Maine to satisfy me. So hats off to you, Justin. That's God's country. It's just gorgeous. And I want to go north from there to Nova Scotia and into Canada. I love Canada. And I just need an invitation. I haven't got an invitation yet. So that's what we're waiting on. So I definitely want to do that. Our continent is awesome. I lived in Alaska for 4 years, from 82 to 86. It's the best place in all the world. I got to tell you that. But hope you do. Make sure you die. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. My GoPros will follow me. Absolutely. So I'm getting better at it. I hope you guys have patience with me. I want the videos to really be good now. Some of the videos, let me tell you, I've done 3 and 4 takes until I'm satisfied. If there's a glitch, I pull it off. Now, a couple of times it got to YouTube. I didn't realize it. I can't have distractions when I edit. And no excuses. I should have checked it better. I immediately take them down, re-edit it, put it back up, and now I'm happy with the results. So I just want you to know, we here at Fisher do not take this lightly. I don't. I'm the originator. I am Fisher. I take these videos seriously. Of course, it's entertainment, but guys, together, we're in this together. I feed off of you. I love the back and forth, back and forth. I like this. I looked at it. This is reality. There's going to be no garbage coming from me, no bull. This is the truth. And I talk, if it's from experience, I'll tell you. I'm not the fact end all on anything, but I can only tell you from my experience, and I feed off of you guys' experiences. So, Red, I want to say to you, if you've watched any of the videos or any of the chatting, I keep telling everybody, please send me pictures of your catches, of where you live and what it's like, even if it's just little videos, trailers. I want to put them on Instagram. I want to put them on the Facebook. So help me out, and let me put in my email address for you guys that you may not know. We're coming to an end now anyway in the talk. It's fishhook2019@gmail.com. Send me stuff and I'll put it up, please. I really mean it. I so appreciate all you guys. Thanks, Mr. UK over there, Ahmad. And look at this, out of up in Manitoba. Yeah, ice fishing. Oh yeah, it's awesome. I'm just scratching the surface. I enjoy this so much. And let me just say this. In the world of fishing and hunting, I learned this from very experienced people that taught me what I know today. I do bow hunting. I love guns, so I do that also. There's not a play against guns. I'm totally pro gun, but 75% of fishing and hunting is the hunt, is the camaraderie, is trying to get, like with bow hunting especially, is trying to get in the living room of the animal. For me to get any kind of sizable animal, I got to get within 40 or 30 yards to get a kill zone shot. So think about what I got to do. I might have to crawl on my belly and roll. Sometimes I roll in moose urine to totally camouflage my human scent. I got taught by the best, and we got a moose one year in Alaska. It was awesome with the bow. Oh yeah, I know what that's like. I know what it's like to sit on its carcass. It was so big, my feet didn't hit the ground, and it was another bone-chilling night. I had an old Chevy pickup with 4x4 with Granny Low, and I drove into the woods as far as I could go. Me and my buddy Gary Twig, and if he's watching, I want to put a shout out. And he taught me everything there is about bow hunting, how to really shoot right. And I had to keep all the way up to my shoulders in the animal first, just to stay warm, covered in blood, and gutting that animal. When I took out his throat, it looked like a dryer hose. It was so big. So I said all that 75% of it is the experience, getting to the place, fishing, the scenery. It's just awesome. And 25% is the kill. 25% is catching the fish, bringing it on board. It's, last Saturday I went out with my son-in-law, Brandon, and my 2 oldest grandsons, Colin and Luke. We had a blast. Did we catch a lot of fish? Absolutely not. It was just beastly hot, and I wasn't set up to go real deep jigging. So we fooled around. We caught a little, my son-in-law caught a little carp, but it was awesome. But it was so hot. The kids had their faces were flushed. One fell asleep. I have a bimini top on my deck boat. We had a blast. We drank so much Gatorade, so much water. We just enjoyed ourselves, just coasting all around the lake. That's what it's all about, making memories. So I'll never forget them. I advise you guys to do the same thing. Go out. I've heard you. I'm going to be a broken record here. Husbands, shame on you if you don't take your wives out with you. Make her part of your life. Make her part of all the endeavors. Do things together, and you'll see how your marriage becomes richer and richer. I'm really blessed. My wife, Amy, God bless her. Um, she's an outdoor girl. She gets it. She gets it. And she really gets with it. I got to take my hat off to her. I put her through a lot out there on the boat. There's days when she just puts the cover over her. She can't take it. I have fishing in my blood. I have a lot of patience. I catch those fish. Sometimes it takes hours, but I'll catch them. And we are having such a good time. I invite you guys to do the same thing. You want to impress a girl, find out what she's all about. Take her out fishing, for Petey's sake. Go on a charter boat. Go on a pier fishing together. You have a great lunch. It can be romantic. It can be better than what you guys think. Have fun. Take your kids out. It's such a wonderful thing to do. I can't encourage enough. I'll learn about it. We'll talk about fishing regulations the next time we get together. I'm gonna compare fishing regulations with Tennessee, with Florida, and maybe you guys, if you tune in, try to get up to date on what you're fishing. Let's compare what the fishing regulations are, and I'll tell you our limits, and then we can see how state by state they really do differ. In Montauk Point, New York. I don't know what happened over there. I'm just a little disappointed. We went there for years, and we could keep 2 striped bass. I think one had to be. I forgot this one couldn't go over a certain size. One had to be under what I forget. It's been a while. Well, anyway, that went down the tubes because now you can only keep one. It's ridiculous, totally ridiculous. And these are all ocean run stripers. So I don't know. I'm disappointed in that, but maybe legislation will change. Either way, that's a subject for next week. Guys, be thinking about it. And if you have any great things to say, please email. Give me some subjects, some topics you might want to talk about. This is all of us. We're jib-jabbing. We're having a great time, and just I'm enjoying myself. I hope you guys are too. I love every one of you. I really appreciate you here. And if you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It won't bite you. Hit it. Become part of the Fishhook Nation. And until next week, God bless you.